I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network, and here at the MeidasTouch Network, we have been covering these fascist Trump events that he calls rallies that have been taking place across the country, and we've been covering it so we could call it out and condemn it, because here at the MeidasTouch Network, unlike the mainstream media, we do not believe we can both sides the issues or cover our eyes and ears to the threat of fascism that exists. And Donald Trump has made this midterms a referendum on him, a referendum on whether our country supports democracy or whether our country supports fascism, whether our country supports normalcy or whether our country supports MAGA extremism. The Republican Party is not a conservative party anymore. It is the Trump MAGA extremist party, and that is why we have been covering all of these events to show you the receipts. And so we covered the Wilkes-Barre event, we covered the Youngstown event, we covered the Wilmington event, we covered the Warren event, we covered the Minden event, we covered the Mesa event, we covered the Robstown event, and now we are covering the Sioux City, Iowa event. And in Sioux City, Iowa, what Donald Trump was supposed to be there for was the candidate, Chuck Grassley, but he's never actually there for the candidate. It's all about me, and his extremism and his whining and his complaining, which we'll talk about here on this video. But Chuck Grassley, the MAGA Republican who's currently the senator, is running in a statistical dead heat against a retired three-star Admiral Mike Franken, who is running as the Democratic candidate in Iowa, someone who is infinitely qualified, incredibly normal, and cares about our democracy, and his entire career has been fighting for our country, in stark contrast to this MAGA extremism that is seeking to cripple our democracy. And so, as you know from these videos that we do, first we cover briefly what takes place before the rally, then we cover the opening acts, if you will, and then we cover what Donald Trump says. We give it context, we condemn everything that's being said, but we show you what is taking place out there for the purpose for you to spread the word. Of course, if you live in Iowa, to vote for normalcy, to vote for democracy, to reject extremism, because this is a window into what a MAGA extremist run country would look like. It is very, very, very dangerous, as we all know. So, talking about what happened before the rally began, you have Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's basically serving as one of the reporters as well, interviewing some of these people. Here, play this first clip.
Today, what's important to you?
I want to tell you you're an American hero, and we love you, and you are a sister hero in how you speak, and you don't care what people say, and we just look up to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Why are you here today?
I come to see Trump.
You're not a fan of communism.
I'm not a fan of communism. I'm a Trump supporter, and I had no idea to get the benefit of seeing you also. Wow, it's awesome.
Well, thank you so much. Do you know?
And then you see just the very odd cult-like behavior there, and the people wearing the bizarre t-shirts. And then you have, before people start speaking on stage, you have Mike Lindell, I suppose, as like an opening act. And Mike Lindell's talking to the radical right extremist network, spreading more conspiracies. Every election, other than a hostile authoritarian coup for Mike Lindell, the pillow fascist who was at the White House on or around January 6th, who basically talked about Trump declaring martial law. He carried out the document, and how he wanted Kash Patel to be appointed acting head of the CIA to overthrow the government. But for Mike Lindell, unless there's a violent coup, overthrow of the government, every other type of election result everywhere internationally is fraud, and he tries to spread that conspiracy. Here is Mike Lindell saying that the reason that Jair Bolsonaro, the president and tropical Trump, they call him, of Brazil, who just lost to Luna in the election, that 5.1 million votes were fake and all of that. Just, again, complete BS conspiracy. But play Mike Lindell, who is an icon right now and a leader in the Republican Party of today. Play this clip.
In real time, like we just watched Brazil, President Bolsonaro, 5.1 million votes stole from him.
That's incredible. I was just going to ask you what your thoughts are on what's going on in Brazil right now. And better yet, the question should be, big tech has really shut down any type of criticism that's going on in Brazil right now. Yeah. YouTube and Google says they're not going to tolerate any type of criticism. Do you think they're going to do that?
Completely ridiculous. And then you have the chair of the Iowa Republican Party, someone by the name of Jeff Kaufman. And here's Jeff Kaufman speaking to the crowd as one of the acts that go on before Trump, if you will. Play this clip.
You can take your woke, fiscally irresponsible craziness and you can take it and go to the Soviet Union. I don't care. This is Iowa.
You see the anger in his heart. You see that yelling and screaming. It reminds me of, like, this is the template. This is the prototype. Now, let's show you the clip when Trump did the rally in Arizona. And there you had, I believe her name is Kelly Ward, who's the chair of the Arizona Republican Party. So here, that was Jeff Kaufman. You saw the Iowa GOP chair. This is Kelly Ward, the Arizona Republican chair, when she said, "We are MAGA, we are Orange Mafia," you know, all this crazy stuff. Play this clip.
Hey, stand up if you're ultra MAGA! Ultra MAGA! Woo! Hey, I'm a proud member of the Orange Mafia!
Yeah, what in the world is that? I mean, that is, you know, from Iowa to Arizona, this is what it means to now be a Republican, to be like that, to spread the hate and the yell and that cultish, strange behavior. That is so not what this country is about. So then after Jeff Kaufman, you got Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's basically the opening act, always for Donald Trump and all of these fascist circus traveling rallies that are taking place. And so here she says, you know, because the Republican Party of today, the MAGA Republican Party, is the pro-Putin party. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, under the GOP, there will not be another single penny that goes to Ukraine in favor of their buddy, Vladimir Putin. Play the clip.
The only border they care about is Ukraine, not America's southern border. Under Republicans, not another penny will go to Ukraine. Our country comes first. They don't care about our border or our people.
You know, we just had Jim Clyburn on the MeidasTouch podcast, and he made such a great point. He was saying, he goes, Trump isn't Hitler. Trump is Mussolini. Putin is Hitler. And what Trump wants to do is basically turn America into a satellite that then pledges loyalty to Vladimir Putin. And you have the Republican Party, essentially everything they say. And I'm going to show you in a little bit a clip from Chuck Grassley that also proves it. Literally everything they say is in homage of Putin, is pro-Putin, is against our allies abroad. It is so freaking strange. Now I want to show you another clip right here. This is from Marjorie Taylor Greene, where she gets the crowd to boo Paul Pelosi. And of course, the Pelosi's just experienced a horrific home invasion and attempted murder where an intruder who follows the teachings of MAGA extremists broke in to their home. He said they were looking for Nancy Pelosi, and he assaulted Paul Pelosi over the head with a hammer, nearly killing him. Paul Pelosi is in ICU. Rather than people coming together as a nation, here we have Marjorie Taylor Greene inspiring the crowd to boo Paul Pelosi. Play the clip.
Where Americans are robbed, stabbed, raped, kidnapped, carjacked, and murdered. But the only crime victim you hear about from Democrats and the media is Paul Pelosi. Paul Pelosi was brutally attacked by a drugged-out illegal alien that should have been deported. And Paul Pelosi should have been a gun owner and shot his attacker.
So then after Marjorie Taylor Greene goes, Trump takes the stage. He always makes the crowd wait for him, and then he takes the stage. And his speech is always like this. It's always me, 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 me. I'm the greatest. I'm your favorite. And then it's always everything's been done to me is so wrong. Everyone's going after me. Everyone treats me so badly. And then the third thing he says is, this country's horrible. This country's despicable. It's a nightmare here. This country's the worst. And then he does that playing the QAnon music. That is the theme of all of these speeches. And just think about it, because we've been also covering here on the MeidasTouch network the rallies that Obama has held and that the Democratic candidates. There is such an incredible contrast between the hate and the conspiracy and the weirdness that takes place at these MAGA Trump fascist rallies compared to what these Obama and pro-democracy rallies that the Democrats hold, which is focused on, we want to make sure that you all have your Social Security. We want to make sure that we protect your Medicare. We want to make sure that healthcare is affordable for everybody. We want to make sure that education is a right and that you all can get the best education that you want. We want to make sure that our troops who return home from overseas can get access to the health care that they deserve, no questions asked. We want to ensure that our country has the best infrastructure possible. We want to make sure that every American can get the wages that they deserve, not just a living wage, but a wage of dignity that they can support their families. And we want to make sure that unions are strong and that working conditions are strong. And we want to make sure that we have a better union. That's a Democratic rally right there, talking about those issues which actually matter to people and affect people's lives. How do we help workers? How do we help people? How do we help people get medicine? How do we help people get education? How do we help people protect their freedoms? We want to protect the rights of women to her own body. We want to protect those freedoms. They're not talking anything about that at these MAGA rallies. All it is Trump, 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 Trump. Trump's the greatest. He's being persecuted. It's so bad. And America's the worst. That's literally what they say at these MAGA rallies. So here we have him starting off by saying, your favorite president got screwed. Play this clip.
Your favorite president, excuse me to all those young people, your favorite president got screwed. That's what happened.
And that's basically the theme of all of these traveling fascist cosplay rallies, or whatever the heck you want to call them. And this is another part where he just starts talking about, he goes, some of us have horrible children. What the hell are you talking about? Play this clip.
You pass away, you can, if you like your child, I always say if you don't like, leave it to charity. Some of us have horrible children. Do you have any horrible children? Does anybody have like a child where you really are not going to leave your farm? Any farmers? No, you don't have to. Just if you don't like them, don't, then what I did for you doesn't mean anything. But I got rid of the inheritance. You know what would happen. You love your children, you want to leave it, and they end up going bust.
And now he gets to the part where he talks about everybody's coming after him. The judges are coming after him. The Fulton County DA is coming after him. So here he says that Fani Willis, the Fulton County DA, is coming after him. But he made the most perfect call. And he says the call he made to Brad Raffensperger, who was the Secretary of State of Georgia, who, by the way, recorded the call, or had someone there record the call, and said it was not actually a perfect call at all. It was extorting him and threatening him to try to overturn the results of a free and fair election. It was the most inappropriate call he had ever received. That's what Brad Raffensperger said. But Trump goes further. He goes, it was even more perfect than the call I had with Zelensky in Ukraine. He says that here. Really, the one where you extorted Zelensky that you were not going to provide him with weapons unless the Ukraine investigated Biden, that you got impeached for. And he goes, that was a perfect call. And I just always think of that image right there of Zelensky sitting next to Trump, where Zelensky was saying that, where Trump was saying that Zelensky needed to give up the Ukraine territory to Putin, and just that look in Zelensky's face at the time, knowing what a hero Zelensky is right now and what Trump was trying to do for his buddy Putin. It is horrible. But let's play this clip of Trump saying that the Fulton County DA is after him and that it was a perfect phone call that he made. Play the clip.
A local left-wing DA in Atlanta is after me for an absolutely perfect phone call, even better, I would say better than the Ukrainian call to the president. This one was even better. Nobody complained about it. A year later, all of a sudden they said, oh, that call, didn't he make a call? A perfect phone call about election integrity. I call about election integrity. And they said, oh, well, did he possibly say? No, it was a perfect call. Better than my first perfect call, remember? They impeached me on a perfect call. Even while Atlanta is among the highest murder rates of any city in the country, by the way, per capita higher than Chicago, and they're playing games with election integrity. All of these local Democrat-run cases are being directed by Washington. We have a weapon.
Again, completely absurd right there. And so then he goes from there to saying that the judge in New York, who just granted the preliminary injunction appointing an independent monitor, by the way, a case where Trump pled the fifth over 400 times and literally provided not an iota of evidence. That's what the judge said in his ruling. Just provide evidence, Donald Trump, to rebut the showings, and you may actually win the motion, essentially is what the judge said, but not an iota of evidence, and you pled the fifth over 400 times when you were asked about the valuations of your property and the statement of financial conditions, the SFCs that you filed every year, and why a property could be appraised at $750,000, and then you on your SFCs, your statement of financial conditions, put $50 million. But instead of answering it, you provided no evidence and you took the Fifth Amendment, and that's why you are whining. So here Trump calls Engoron, the judge, a radical left lunatic judge, like as though he's from Venezuela. Here, play this clip.
In our schools. And just moments ago, a radical left lunatic judge in New York City who is totally controlled by my worst enemies in the Democrat Party and by the New York Attorney General. There's another beauty, who was given his position by them at the request of the out-of-control Attorney General, who's let violent crime in New York rage in the state, including murders, robberies, rape, and drugs at levels never seen before, started a process of property confiscation that is akin to Venezuela, Cuba, or the old Soviet Union. It's communism, what's going on in our country. They're weaponizing the Justice Department. They've weaponized things that were not supposed to be weaponized. Companies are already...
Yeah, and one of the most insane things, too, and the most ironic things about that is that Donald Trump's own lawyer, Christopher Kise, who was actually arguing before Engoron, is a foreign agent, is a registered foreign agent of the Maduro regime in Venezuela. That's who's representing Trump, who filled out a FARA form, a Foreign Agent Registration Act form, saying that he was working for Venezuela. But, you know, that's MAGA for you. Total, complete gaslighting. Here Trump talks about he doesn't know what WhatsApp is and everybody should go download Truth Social because all of this is just one big grift for him. Play this clip.
I said, you're that guy. So anyway, take good care of him, everybody. Go out and sign up now also for Truth Social. It's a hot site. It's doing better than, did you see last week? It was #1. TikTok was #2. Twitter was #5. They had something called WhatsApp. What the hell is that? You say WhatsApp. What is WhatsApp? Do you know what WhatsApp? I don't know, but I hear it's hot. But it's hot. It's so hot it was in #4 place. And Trump, think of it. You take Truth Social was #1, and I hear TikTok is trillions of dollars and everything else. They must be going crazy. And you know why? Because all these people have joined. It's incredible, actually, what's happened. And everywhere the Republican Party has a chance, we must pass.
And then finally, we get to the point where at the end, he plays the QAnon theme song, like no joke here. He plays the QAnon theme song, which is just kind of utterly absurd. And then people hold up their finger as part of like the QAnon cult, where we go one, we go all. And they just inspire that QAnon conspiracy to spread, which is completely absurd and dangerous and needs to be called out as we call it out right here. And then he just says, the nation is horrible. Things are the worst. Here, play that clip.
In the history of the world. But now we are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has the highest inflation in 50 years, and where the stock market finished the worst first half of the year since 18.
And then as that music's playing, he goes, the Green New Deal will lead to the destruction of the nation. Like what? What are you talking about? The Green New Deal will lead to the destruction of the nation? Wait, people, what in the world are these people talking about? Play that clip.
Yet everyone knows that the Green New Deal will lead to our destruction.
And then while that music plays, he talks about, there's more fentanyl than baby formula out there. Play this clip.
We are a nation where fentanyl and all other forms of illegal drugs are easier to get than formula for our beautiful little babies.
And that's what he does. He plays this QAnon theme song to the cult people, gets them really angry by talking horribly about the country and about America, because all these rallies are Trump cult rallies to make people really hate the country in favor of Trump to try to anoint a cult leader. Oh, one thing I should have mentioned also is that you forget sometimes, because Trump makes these rallies about himself. He was supposed to be there for Chuck Grassley, and so Chuck Grassley took the stage, or Grassley took the stage for like a little bit of time and just basically kissed Trump's ass and said, Trump is always right. Trump is always right. Here, play this ridiculous clip of Chuck Grassley kissing Trump's ass. Play the clip.
We thank you for caring about the 2022 election, because we got 2 years of ruining this country, and I laid out for these people that are here tonight the good things you did in your 4 years as President of the United States, but most importantly, you kept your word. And we know that Biden, that said he was going to unite America, has done everything to divide America. So
I should just mention too that a group called Patriot Takes that we've worked with before, they came up with that. They got the footage of Chuck Grassley talking about the wall and how the wall works. And one of the things that Chuck Grassley says, this is why these people are just so insane. It's like they say the dumbest, most dangerous things in the world. And they said, you don't think walls work? Just ask the people who put up the Iron Curtain if walls work. Again, more pro-Russia propaganda. Play the clip.
And when you have an open border, you don't really have a country, because sovereignty is connected with saying who can come to America or not come to America, just like any other country. And when people say walls don't work, ask the people that put up the Iron Curtain 70 years ago. Ask the people in Israel that put up a wall between parts of Jerusalem and parts of where the Palestinians live, et cetera, et cetera. So I think finishing the wall is very important.
And then Eric Kleefield on Twitter said, yeah, that's kind of like when Ronald Reagan said, Mr. Gorbachev, put up those walls. Ridiculous. That's where the GOP is today. Oh, and by the way, while this is all going on, I should mention that they continue to advertise for Trump knives. I'm not joking. Put this clip, put this photo up. As Trump is speaking, they would show things that they were selling. And one of the things for sale, as he's spreading this hate and deranged stuff, was selling a Trump knife. And there you have it. I mean, that is the Sioux City, Iowa fascist event that Trump held. Again, we show you these things here because we can't cover our eyes and close our ears to that reality. This is what's at stake in the midterms. Donald Trump wants it to be a referendum on him. And where do we stand as a country? We've heard from tens and thousands of you here at the MeidasTouch Network of people who used to be part of the Republican Party who said, we are rejecting this extremism. We are voting blue. It may be the first time you voted blue or the second time you voted blue, because there's only one political party today that actually stands up for democracy and that represents and reflects normalcy. And while we may disagree, I'm a Democrat. While I may disagree with the party on certain issues about how to approach things or where priorities should be, at the end of the day, I know that it's the only party with adults in the room who are actually fighting for people, who are fighting to make our lives better, who are grappling with complicated issues, and who support our democracy. It is in such stark contrast to this extremism that we just showed you at Sioux City and that we continue to show you here at the MeidasTouch Network as we went through the various other events that had taken place from Wilkes-Barre to Youngstown to Wilmington to Warren to Minden to Mesa to Robstown and to here in Sioux City. We'll keep you informed on what's going on. Make sure, send this video to people, will you? Comment below if you are a former Republican who left the party as well due to the extremism of the party. Please, I want to hear your story as well, or if you know somebody who left because of the type of conduct we see in that video as well. Spread this video, share it as far as possible, subscribe. It's free to subscribe to this channel, so please hit the subscribe button. And also, if you want to support the work we do here as well, become a member of our Patreon website. Go to patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. There's a number of memberships there with exclusive content, behind the scenes footage, extra podcast, extra content, extra merch, so much great things. But most importantly, we're not funded by any outside investors at all. So no millionaire or billionaire investors who fund the fascist media and the both sides media, none of that. We rely on you 100%. So please, 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 if you can't, no worries if you can't, please go to that Patreon and become a member of one of those tiers. It truly helps us wherever you are in the world. That's patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Until next time, I'm Ben Meiselas.
At MeidasTouch, we are unapologetically pro-democracy, and we demand justice and accountability. That's why we're spreading our message to Convict 45. That's right, gear up right now with your Convict 45 tees and pins at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.